Hi everyone, and this is the video on drug classes in advanced pharmacology. One way to organize the thousands of drugs that exist is to classify them or organize them into one of two classification systems. First, we can organize drugs in terms of their usefulness therapeutically against specific diseases. So this is what is referred to as a therapeutic classification. For example, if a drug is used to treat a blood clot, we would classify them as an anticoagulant. Antihypertensives would be a therapeutic classification for drugs that are used to treat lower blood pressure. Drugs can also be organized based on their pharmacological classification. This is based on the mechanism of action. Basically, it's referring to how the drug works at the molecular level, the body system level, at the tissue level. So you really have to have an idea of your biochemistry, your pathophysiology, to sort of understand where this drug is working and why. Examples would include a diuretic, which basically has a mechanism of action of lowering plasma volume. If a drug dilates peripheral blood vessels, for instance, it would be known as a vasodilator. So just to reiterate, in case you didn't know, mechanism of action refers to how the drug produces its effect in our bodies. You might read in your textbook something about prototype drugs. Well, a prototype is really the first, or typically the preliminary model of something that's been created. And from that, other forms of that object are created and developed, such as like a prototype of a vehicle or a prototype of any other invention. So when you think about prototype drug, you're really looking at the first form of that drug within that classification. So from that particular prototype drug, other alternative forms of that drug within that class will be developed. So when you gain an understanding of the therapeutic or pharmacological classification of a prototype drug, you can almost be assured that you'll have a basic general idea of the typical mechanism of action or anticipated side effects that all the other drugs within that class would have, because you know the prototype drug. There would be a few differences here and there, and just because something is a prototype or known as the prototype within a class doesn't necessarily mean it's the commonly used type within that class, because I said before, things change on a daily basis in pharmacology. However, it is a great study tip. It's good advice to get really orientated with that prototype drug. It's a great building block of knowledge in advanced pharmacology. So just to summarize drug classes, there are two ways to organize all the drugs. One is therapeutic classification, which basically deals with the usefulness against diseases, or there's the pharmacological classification, which relates to the mechanism of action at the tissue level or the molecular level of that drug. So know those two classifications and understand what they mean.